We're going to get right into it. Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to our Epoch and Talk recap, where the team and I were all out in New York. As a quick introduction of myself, I'm Jade, one of the co-founders of Epoch, based out here in San Francisco, where it's been super rainy, but now it's actually kind of fine. So my sweater's kind of overkill, but super excited to be joined by Keith. I'll have him intro himself as well. James is also on our team, our chief of staff. He's helping support in the background today. So Keith, over to you.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar for a recap of Epoch and Talk. So yeah, I'm Keith. I'm one of the co-founders and COO of Epoch, and super excited to share our learnings, insights from all the great conversations we've had, and a little bit of a surprise as well in this recap.
Yeah, so wait till the end. Today we're keeping it nice and short, 30 minutes. So everyone lock in. We'll share takeaways with you after as well. So welcome again to our webinar series where every month we put on some sort of value add webinar for folks that can join us in our in-person events to learn from each other. And specifically for this one, we'll be recapping our New York conference that happened just, I think, 2 weeks ago. So I know we just introduced ourselves. Keith and I are siblings as well, based out here in San Francisco. So super excited to be joined by you all. And yes, Eric, to your point, very rare to have both Keith and I on a webinar. So you all are in for a treat today. And if everyone could drop in the chat, just so that we can warm up the chat and everyone kind of see who else is part of here, drop in how you feel with an emoji on the webinar chat. I'll quickly drop in a fun emoji as well. Maybe a little heart here. Thanks, everyone. So today, what you'll be hearing more about are key takeaways, notes that we were able to jot down that we can only share within this webinar for you all today. So thank you again for joining. Only you all joining today's webinar will get a lot of these takeaways since, again, they're exclusive. So how do we create connection in a distributed workplace, scaling workplace culture, DEI and L&D programs, how to make them effective and impactful. So it'll be an action-packed webinar today. But before we even dive into that, part of the New York conference that we held, where we had over 100 folks coming in, we wanted everyone to zoom out and discuss more about broader trends we're seeing within the space, which I'll cover right now in just a few quick slides. So everyone here in this chat, I know a few of you all touch a spectrum of like workplace, employee experience, DEI, onboarding, just people programs, which we all bucket in as the employee experience, just crucial parts of the employee life cycle. And why this is important, because there's just broader trends at play. So there's a few facts that you all probably have been aware of. It's been all over the headlines. Everyone's talking about the loneliness epidemic, and how there is just a decline in membership in community, religious groups, time with friends is declining, which brings a lot of folks to turn to the work for community since we do spend a broader part of our lives there. And all that to say, as traditional third spaces are on the decline, people are turning to work for connection and belonging. So workplaces, which you all have such a core part in contributing to, especially with your work, can be designed as a modern community of purpose for employees, which is why the work that we do is so important and why Epoch exists. And some of these stats you all are probably aware of as well. We spend a lot of our time and our lives at work, and employee experience is overall strategic. We do see organizations that really invest deeply in this and do this well see higher profits. So it does contribute directly to the bottom line. So I always like to emphasize that the work that you all do, the work that we support here at Epoch, it's never just about just simple programs. It's about designing spaces and opportunities when we think about both virtual and virtual, where human connection, belonging, and informal interaction can really flourish. And one last slide here on just employee experience and why this has been so crucial. And again, why Epoch exists and why we're so grateful to serve clients that we have right now in supporting their employee programs. Because as Wall Street Journal said just 2 years ago, employee experience was one of the fastest growing titles. And that means as companies hire more for these roles, the more that you all need the support, need this community. And your bandwidth, I think, will just continue getting more slim, just given what we've been seeing in broader market trends, which is, again, why we're here today. And lastly, what's employee experience? It's all these different teams that you all are a part of, which again, today's webinar will be addressing from our conference. Keith, anything from you before we keep moving forward here?
No.
Okay. So in terms of our conference, this is the makeup that we saw of folks joining in. So again, in terms of the information you'll be getting today, it'll be directly tied to driving your work forward and sharing learnings. And before we dive in, sorry, I clicked into the slide way too quick. This was a surprise Keith was mentioning. So Keith, let me hand it over to you and let me know if you need to share screen.
Yes, I'm going to share screen here, but one thing that we wanted to quickly showcase is, Jade, let me just, okay, I'll share screen then. The slide, I wanted to keep that slide up.
Sorry, here, you got it.
Yeah, no, can you send it up?
Yes, I can. Bear with us here, everyone. Let me just reshare my screen here. But yeah, I kind of preemptively landed on it quickly, but since I stopped sharing, hopefully no one got too much info. There you go.
That's okay. For those who were at the conference, you were there. I see a few folks who were there, so you already know this. But one thing we're super excited to announce and launch is our agent Epoch. I know for a lot of the clients and teams that I work with, there's been a lot of excitement around, of course, leveraging AI, but also a lot of anxiety, especially when there are ambiguous directives from leadership teams who are just saying use AI, be more efficient, and even from our discussions, even at Epoch and Talk, some organizations are mandating that into their performance plans for a lot of folks, but are not well equipped. Right, it's really difficult for us as employee experience managers and workplace managers to just all of a sudden leverage AI without much resourcing. Yes, we can be joining those ChatGPT prompt workshops, but that still is pretty preliminary in terms of the way we can actually harness the full potential of AI. And that is why we've been quietly building actually for the past 2 years and not really launching before we're ready an actual agent with Epoch to actually support workflows, execute things for you all, and drive true efficiency. And I'm super excited to announce it because we've been in beta for the past few weeks. And as you can see here, we built Epoch to first streamline and consolidate a lot of the tools. For those who know Epoch, you've seen our product. And now I'm super excited to show our next wave of our agents, which you can see here. We even added a little mascot to it, the Frenchie here, as Jade sort of quickly showcased, which is kind of influenced by a Frenchie that we dog sit a lot. And for those who know the importance of this Frenchie. And if you don't, feel free to ask us or ask around, and you might find out interesting, I guess, like Epoch lore. I don't know if I used the right term, but it's quite fun. So with that, I will quickly now then dive into a quick demo to showcase it. I promise it won't be more than 5 minutes. All right, so let me just share my screen here. All right, so for all our partners and customers on this webinar here, I just want to do a huge thank you to you all to support us in terms of getting us here, in terms of building Epoch. A huge part of making sure your agents and building AI is the data. And so I want to thank you all for trusting us with not just your data and events, but also your expertise in developing some of the best playbooks and workflows that we've seen across the industry. I do believe that we work with some of the most essentially an all-star team of clients in terms of the employee experience space, and hence why we love to showcase the community and bring everyone together to share those learnings. But really quick, this is going to be our new refreshed agent Epoch experience. You can see here, this is where the agent will be. And I want to create, say, a mooncake experience because it was just Mid-Autumn Festival and it's one of my favorite holidays. I can now easily just input that right here directly into Epoch. And this agent is smart enough to not only pull events from my previous years, and that is what I mentioned in terms of a lot of our clients, we've leveraged and supported you all in terms of those events and data points and behaviors, but we're also able to pull in your playbooks, best practices, and policies. So if you are a documentation heavy company, you are already setting yourself up for a really great AI experience for a lot of the agents that are coming out. I'm going to have it create my event for me now. As you can see here, I'm really just watching it work. It is a live demo here, and so it's written everything out for me, but everything looks good. It's going to pull in a guest list for me as well. And so from here, this is the one part where I would have to approve the guest list because we don't want to spam the whole company. So we intentionally made sure that this was not too automated by our agent. But I can schedule that. But once I do confirm, it will schedule all of the registrations for me, all the invitations sent out and managed. And because we are embedded with your existing tools, so like Google Calendar, Slack, our agent will actually work on your behalf, send those invites, and keep track of registrations for you. And not only that, it will also create all the announcements, questionnaires related to your event. So you can see here, here's a questionnaire. I didn't do this. It created for me based on past events. I can just review and make edits. What else has it done? It also created a Slack post announcement for me and created my whole drip campaign of a reminder so that we can reduce the attrition and I don't have to manually create 5, 6, 7 reminders throughout, leading up to the event. I can just hand it to the agent and move on to my next event or my other priorities in terms of workplace. And it's also created a feedback form for me and automated it to be sent out at the end of the event. So this is one super exciting experience from the agent as well. And there we go. All right, see some comments here. Yeah, super excited about this. All the reminders. And you can see here, it has sent out the calendar invitation for me. Not only that, one thing I do want to highlight is that we've also amped up our Slack bot. So not only will our agent live within Epoch, it will also live in Slack. And so this is an automated message from our agent letting me know that there are maybe 30 folks registered as maybe, and maybe asking me if I want to send out a reminder to the maybe statuses. So of course, I'm going to say yes. It'll draft my reminder for me. I don't even have to leave Slack. It's like I have an extra pair of hands to support me, and I will approve it, and it'll just send it out for me. I don't even have to leave Slack. But this is an easy, quick way to make sure that my events that I'm investing in are going to get the attendance as needed. All right. And then from there, an extension of this that I'm super excited about. And this is actually one thing I wasn't able to showcase at the Epoch&Talk conference because we ran out of the time. But this is the agent insights. So as you're creating all the events here on Epoch, one big thing that we've also set up is for the agent to now smartly give you insights immediately based on whatever questions you may have in terms of the ROI, the engagement of your events, what you should be doing better, and what recommendations can help you out. And so here, I want to see the ROI of my events in the past 6 months. It's even smart enough to remove, those big events like all hands that kind of skew your data in terms of the engagement and culture. It will show me the wellness programs, the socials, and categorize those and show me exactly the insights I need without just dumping me data and then for me to then formulate these insights or needing to like put it into ChatGPT or things like that. It's all in one place and it'll leverage the existing data within Epoch, which is all in one place. It can give me a visual breakdown if I do need to showcase the leadership or make it a little bit more enticing. And last and not least, I also want to maybe crowdsource how I can improve it without maybe, asking others, because I can leverage the Epoch community. We have so many insights. And from there, the agent in itself can also grab from not only internally of what's worked, from the feedback that's been given by your employees, it will also crowdsource ideas of what's worked at other organizations similar to me. And so here, maybe I've heard there's feedback in the networking socials are a little stale. It will give me recommendations like putting in social bingos, intentional groupings, and things like that, especially if it sees feedback from folks that mention perhaps it's difficult for them to network without any prompts. So that really wraps up the agent part of it. Hopefully that was exciting and quick enough. But with that, I'll pass it back to Jade to now go into the actual learnings of the discussions that we've had.
Yes, thank you so much, Keith. And I'm going to take back screen now and continue forward. At the conference, we did launch our agent Epoch. So I appreciate everyone here as well in the comments being so excited about it. It's been a lot of work from our team to make sure that teams like yours are able to save lots of time and essentially be able to leapfrog adoption of technologies since there's so much at play right now. So thank you, Keith, for walking us through that. And if anyone is interested in learning more or have any thoughts and feedback, please feel free to book time with either of us. I'll put down my email in the chat in case you ever want to reach out and talk more about anything that you saw here today. Moving forward a bit, so let's dive back into Epoch and Talk. It was highly successful. It was only our third year being in New York, East Coast. Since for those who are in the Bay Area, know that we host our Epoch Connect conference for 300 people over 2 days every year. So our New York East Coast version is 100 people capped at one day. And we had incredible feedback all around. It was such great energy. I wanted to share some photos as well for those who were there. Try to spot yourself. For those who couldn't make it, you can get a sense of who was there and the energy that everyone brought. I always say these conferences are only successful with kind of the energy that everyone else contributes towards it. So everyone did an incredible job there. And yeah, here's Keith as well. I think he was literally presenting Agent Epoch then. Okay, now let's get into it. I know everyone's here for the main learnings. There's going to be 3 core parts to this. So this is the first one where it will highlight and share with everyone here leaders from workplace experience sharing their takeaways. So we had someone from Warner Music Group, iCapro, Sprout Social, Wonder. So high growth, almost like tech companies, but also some fintech or music industry leaders as well, sharing what works for them when you think about bringing folks together. So here's some big 3 takeaways that the audience and our team took away to be the most crucial parts of the conversation. It was really meaty. So everyone that joined today's webinar as well will get a more in-depth ebook where you can dive a bit deeper into the conversations that were had in the panelist learnings. But the big broad things I know everyone can read here, so I'll just kind of call it the big things. Your workplace as a product, not policy. I really love that. Just really seeing yourselves as product managers. So continuously getting feedback, getting data, testing new experiences and iterating fast is what a lot of the successful workplace leaders that we were working with or had on the panel shared examples of why they found success in not only building other programs, but also reinforcing the workplace experience team as like a core brand within the company that people can trust and know to be innovative. Passive perks, interactive experiences, especially now that we're seeing a lot of clients and companies go back into office, this is more and more top of mind of how do we make it more value add for employees that are together in person. And then at the end of the day, build recognition and resilience into your DNA. So really about self-care because workplace experience, all those here that are in the space know that's very hospitality focused. Hospitality does require you really bring your full self forward, always being positive. So it can be a lot. So that was something that the panel talked deeply about as well. I know I went through that really fast. So if anyone has any questions or comments, feel free to drop it in the chat or in the Q&A section. I'm going to move on to the next panel before we take another pause. So this panel was led by Keith here, and this was all about internal community. So if you're listening here and you're part of an ERG or lead up an ERG or leading up your inclusion programs, takeaways here were plenty. So we had leaders from Block, Gusto, the NBA, so a broad range of folks with in-depth experience. I think all of them have over like almost 15, 20 years of experience within the space. So the big theme here that folks took away was redefining your internal approach for inclusion. So there's so much backlash about DEI right now. This has been such a timely conversation, and our panelists really delivered on making sure that they kept it real and they shared real tangible learnings and examples that folks can take away with. So 3 core frameworks or ideas that I'd encourage everyone here to walk away with is see belong as a core business driver, not a cost center. So I think even the energy you bring in from what I heard from the panel is really important. So if you go in always thinking like, oh, like we're just taking money away from the organization, that's not going to be that productive versus like knowing that you are driving value and driving business forward with the programs you lead. So essentially what it says here is moving beyond social good and connect every initiative to tangible business outcomes. So I think it was either Ren or Melissa from MBA or Jenny from Block mentioned that really tie back, like we held this event and then we saw this outcome that drives this core business goal that we have. That's always helpful. Scrutiny is a catalyst for rigor. There's a lot of external pressure right now. So I think, I don't know, people always say like pressure is a privilege. So really taking that into account when you think about your programs and what's happening at play in the world and even internally. And then lastly, creating inclusive culture is a shared responsibility. So really thinking of how to empower like even leaders top down and not really having only your DEI team take that big goal on, making sure that everyone feels accountable to make sure that everyone is equipped to drive forward belonging, inclusion across the company. So those are the main takeaways that I heard from the panel. Keith, I know you led it. So was there anything else that I might have missed here?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great summary of it. And yeah, just to double click into just how incredible I think the three speakers were. I think I think the biggest point to drive is just really that first one, not seeing yourself as a cost center and like getting out of that mindset in terms of always just moving and drawing that through line across your whole company and business value when you do develop these programs. Yes, at the end of the day, it is kind of sometimes difficult to showcase sometimes the ROI, but oftentimes if you have the right data, have the right logistics and pieces in place, you can easily showcase that value add and prove that business case and business worth of the programmings that you all create, which I bet everybody appreciates at the company. So yeah.
Okay. And midway Q&A, any questions from the group here? I know we're moving a bit fast.
Hello, everyone. James here. Quick question from the chat. So, for either Jade or Keith, you talked a little bit about leading with belonging. Can you give us an example of kind of one small concrete step to make belonging everyone's responsibility and not just HR's? Either that you learned from the situation or one that's just kind of top of mind.
Yeah, so one big one, I'll just jump in here, is leveraging the ERGs and within the company. And so how some of the organizations, so I believe Gusto that I was working with, they leverage the ERGs as twofold. One, of course, getting executive sponsorship for each of the ERGs themselves. And so that obviously already diversifies the responsibility outside of HR. Each of those executives needs to come from a different function. And so you have a sales VP. So I think Gusto even has a C-level executive sponsoring one of their ERGs, which is absolutely incredible. And so finding that, making sure they're held accountable, and also just making sure that they are an enjoyable experience for the executives to come to, and also commit and showcasing the impact for them so that they know that it's worth their time. So that's one very tangible and easy way to ensure that it's diversified across the whole company. And then the second way is really leveraging your ERGs as incubators. So having ERG leads coming in, not just being, the culture committee and fund committee, which it is in some element, but also putting in pieces in place and learning and development opportunities within them to showcase that as an ERG lead, you are also going to be the future managers, directors, VPs at the company, and putting those pieces in place for them to get them ready to also input and implement all those best practices. And because they have that deep experience with your ERGs, your culture groups, that is one way to, again, embed culture more deeply into the organization.
Thank you. Thank you. I think that was the only question, so we can keep it moving.
Amazing. Can you guys tell that me and James are next to each other given that echo? So I'm going to quickly wrap us up. I know we're almost hitting time here. So the last thing I wanted to share is this panel where we wrapped the conference up with, where we had Adrian, Rose, and Vanessa share all their learnings across just employee experience. So three things as well, kind of similar to what you heard earlier, treating also culture as a product. Again, how do we shift from like just reactive event driven approaches, meaning like someone asks for something, we just like are like, okay, let's just put it together like an offsite or onsite or an all hands, but making sure that it's a bit more precious than that, right? Making it scalable. How do we think about rituals and core systems to really make them a core part of culture? AI, top of mind for everyone right now. We have to make that a core competency, especially if we're working within tech all the modern like knowledge workers, we just have to enable that. And I do see a lot of employee experience teams taking the lead on that, of like hosting trainings or workshops. And then lastly, architect for trust in a distributed workplace. Prioritize consistency and transparency in leadership messaging. That's been super crucial, especially now with years of whiplash, I think, of like RTO, hybrid, remote work. Just having that trust rebuild is core to the work of employee experience team. So that wraps up most of the panel learnings here today. I wanted to see if there's any more questions, but I do know we're going a bit over time. So I'm going to quickly wrap us up. And if you all do have any questions, my email is in the chat. So a few fun updates. We also have this new partnership with the ERG movement. If you all are familiar with Maceo, she's incredible, meaning if you partner with Epoch, you also get to work closely with Maceo. If you're interested in this, let me know. Keith's been leading the charge alongside James for this. And lastly here, if you all want to join in the fun for even the bigger version of New York, our Epoch and Talk, we have Epoch Connect, which is happening next year in May. So here's a QR code where you can get early bird tickets. And here's some photos from this past May. It was incredible. Over 300 people joined in. So again, if you want to join in the fun, register here today. But thank you everyone for joining us today. I appreciate everyone for joining us. We had a few more Q&A. Sorry we couldn't get to everyone. I did want to keep this nice and 30 minutes max for you all. So again, please reach out if you have any questions. You'll be also hearing from us on email with the ebook today. Thank you all.